Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Ben the Human Plays Herald of the Mists, the demo. Last time we went into the Mistlands, we met a lady called Maya. We killed 3 guys that were looking for Maya. Had a run-in with a intelligent animal or maybe a druid. Unknown. We made it to Compass, the town, and they're having trouble. The town had some guy collect a bunch of taxes, and then he absconded with the taxes, and now the soldiers of the mist are pissed, and they're maybe gonna ransack the town or something. But I'm asleep, and I have just woken up, and there's a faint light from downstairs. Let's go check it out. See who's down there. Oh, it's Agnes. I love Agnes. Rubbing your sleepy eyes, you quietly go downstairs. The chairs arranged in a circular pattern are now empty, except for one. Agnes is sitting there holding a cup, her eyes fixed on the ground. The large room is dimly lit by a few candles. Through the windows, you can see the dark mist flowing like a river. Couldn't sleep? She slowly turns her head back, glancing at you standing on the stairs. She raises the cup gently, showing it to you. I can't sleep without a few barrels of this. Care to join? I grab myself a cup of beer and sit in one of the chairs. Yeah, you enjoy yourself. No. Let's chill with Agnes here for a second. After clinking your mugs with Agnes, you down the beer in one go. Whoa! I was gonna, nurse that thing, but apparently not. A bitter herb and dry bread taste fills your mouth. Finishing her drink, Agnes lets out a hiccup and says, Tell me, Herald, is Gott different from this hellhole? Not really. What about the Queen? Agnes sighs deeply, pouring herself another glass of beer. What about her? I take a sip of my own beer. What is she like? Is she as beautiful and as charming as the stories say? I would say she probably is. She has an irresistible aura. Agnes laughs as if you have just told her a hilarious joke. Once I get this village in order, I'll go pay her a visit myself and see what all this beauty is about. She takes a large gulp from her beer and continues. I'll also ask her how she does it, you know. I barely manage a small village while she handles a whole continent. How did you end up as the mayor of the village? I guess people like leaders who shout and command, and I'm one of those people, she says, her brown eyes looking down as memories flicker in her mind. It's strange, she adds. When I look back on my life, I realize how little control I had. Life pushed me, and I just kept on walking. Do you regret it? A lot. Agnes thinks for a moment, her expression distant. I wish I had taken more control. I wish I had been braver. The bad decisions of incompetent leaders have always shaped my life. She takes another sip. But not anymore. I won't let Glenn or anyone else dictate my life. The soldiers of the mists will leave just as quickly as they came. She looks at you. What about you? I try not to dwell on the past. I feel like my life is just a series of random events. Or my life is completely in my hands, even though not everything that happens to me is under my control. How I react to those events and overcome them is up to me. I like that decision. Let's be self-starters. Agnes nods, though she seems lost in her own memories. You both continue drinking and chatting, the night fading into a blur. You vaguely recall laughing, clinking your glasses together, and drinking until you're sick. Oh no! I'm gonna be hungover tomorrow. I didn't sign up for this. When you open your eyes, your head throbbing, you find yourself in bed. Your stomach churns and you feel like you're about to vomit. It takes a few minutes to regain your composure. The candle is long since gone out and the dread fog has dissipated. The light streaming through the window only worsens the pain in your head. I pull myself together and go out. When I said I wanted to drink with her, I was thinking we would have one beer and sip it until we were both done talking. Not get absolutely wasted. As you step out of the empty inn and into the small village, you notice that the chaos from last night has faded, and people are continuing with their daily routines. The fog is light and the blore fires have been extinguished. A few children are running around the statue in the center. You spot Eddie nearby, instructing some on sword play. To the north of the statue, there's a small shop with Oswin sitting in front of it. Agnes and Tom seem to be nowhere in sight. I will check on Oswin. You find Oswin behind a stall where various goods are laid out for sale. He leans back and reading a book. When your shadow falls over him, he looks up and meets your gaze. Ah, welcome, Herald, he says, gesturing to the stall. Is there something that catches your eye? Well, what are you reading? This, he says, raising the book into the air and turning the cover towards you. The Corners of Barang. It's a book about the history of the corners. I've been reading it for the past 2 years or so. Can't seem to finish it. Barang. 79 ships set sail from the motherland, but only 23 reached the new continent. They named it Barang after the ship that stayed behind to ensure the others' passage. Its jagged mountains, rugged coastline, and sharp-edged rock formations stood as a warning to all who arrived. Barang was not a land that welcomed settlers, it tested them. Even today, centuries after their arrival, no one truly calls this place home, yearning instead for the hope of return to their motherland. Interesting. Are we on Barang or on the other place? On the motherland, I don't know. I'd like to know more about you. I do enjoy talking about myself, Oswin says, closing the thick book and setting it aside. What would you like to know? How did you find yourself here? I used to be a merchant in the Mist Dwellers, Oswin begins his story. I ran a small shop with my partner. Life was busy but good. He exhales deeply, recalling the old days. Then I found my partner was working behind my back. While I was none the wiser, he was laundering the money of special clients. Of course, I didn't find out until the soldiers caught him, but he was prepared. All the blame fell on me. He tilts his head slightly and continues. Let me be given an honest enemy rather than a false friend, he quotes. Not sure if you've understood the reference, he adds. The 10 Pillars of the Sacred Family by Bertio Helmond. What happened then? I ran, Oswin says. By chance, Agnes was with them in the Mist Dwellers at the time. She used to stop by the shop every time she came by. Although we didn't know each other well, we were acquainted. I happened to run into her while I was fleeing, and I told her everything. She gave me a new life here. Now my dear partner is running the shop alone in the Mist Dwellers. As for me, I'm just minding my own business here. Aren't you afraid I'll rat you out? I don't think I'm that kind of guy. Also, I don't want to plant that in somebody's head either. Do you want revenge on your partner? Revenge doesn't heal wounds, it makes them permanent, Oswin quotes once more. I'm content with my life, and even if I do nothing, I'm sure one day all my partner's crimes will fall on him. After a moment of thought, he adds, or maybe I'm just fooling myself. Well, I mean, he's being the bigger person, so fair enough. Who are these special clients? To be honest, I don't know, but there's no doubt they're wealthy and powerful people. He leans back. Agnes always says it could be Glenn himself. He smiles slightly. Though to be fair, Agnes blames Glenn for everything bad. I'm sorry to hear that. Don't worry, my friend. I'm content with my life. Although a betrayal by a friend is heartbreaking, it's not something that I'll let ruin my life. You don't seem worried about the soldiers? Because I have complete faith that Agnes will solve this problem. He straightens his posture, relaxing his back. I haven't seen a problem she hasn't overcome yet. Are you and Agnes close? She likes to consult me before making certain decisions, he says with a smile, clearly pleased by the thought. And I share my thoughts as much as I can. Sometimes we sit and discuss the books we've read for hours. Well, that's all I wanted to know, I guess. My pleasure, he says, taking the book back into his hands. Do you have anything for sale? We got arrows. We have 15. So we spent 5 in that last battle. We only have 30 coins left though. I'm gonna get my inventory is full. Can I sell you stuff? Yes! Take one of the swords. How do? There, okay. One sword gone. Do I want? I feel like, yeah, this sword matters not. Like, we'd like to get enough strength to wield Maya's sword at some point. But the dagger does the same amount of damage as the one-handed sword. And by the time we get 1 strength anyway, we still can't wield Maya's sword, and this is not any better than that dagger. So sell both swords. I will hold off on selling anything else, though. But I would like the armor, so buy me the armor, please. Amulet of Mana, that's not going to help me. How about a rope? I think I will buy the rope. Yes, and it goes into my backpack. Can I equip this? Yeah. All right, hold off on the sword. Oh, we got 2 bows. I didn't realize that. Here, have one of my bows. So, nice. Yeah, we don't need 2 bows. That's crazy talk. But I would like to buy, you know, honestly, give me five extra arrows. There we go. We sold all of our stuff and turned it into 10 arrows and a leather armor. Tell me about Compass. In all my years of life, I've never seen nor known a place as peaceful and unassuming. That's what Simon of Compass wrote about this place in his journal. Why is it called Compass? He nods towards the statue in the center of the village. Kairakan, he says, his eyes gleaming of Blore face north, guiding many lost travelers even during Dreadfog. All right, that's all it is. Have a nice day. Let's go talk to Eddie. Eddie moves fluidly among his students, shouting instructions as he dances with his sword. His brown hair whips through the air, sending sweat flying with each movement. The trainees try to resist his attacks, but their efforts are futile. As you approach, a few young trainees turn their attention to you. Eddie notices you too and halts the training. Hey, Benjamin, he says, breathless, his brown tunic soaked with sweat. I was hoping to talk to you. There's a hint of exhaustion in his eyes, but his stance remains firm. Well, what did you want to talk about? About last night. Eddie gestures to the trainees to disperse. Break until midday, he says, turning back to you. If you don't mind, I'd like to discuss a few things I'd like to keep just between us. Well, sure, why not? I can change my mind later. Eddie nods as he sheathes his sword. You said you were looking for the army, right? He glances around to make sure no one is listening, lowering his voice, and continues. I might know a few things about that, such as... I don't know what happened to them, but I do know a few things that might be useful to you. He pauses and studies your reaction. If you help me, I'll tell you everything I know. What kind of help? I don't know what you think about helping Agnes, he says, but I'm asking you not to. We can't stand against the soldiers of the mist. I'm sure you can see that. He gestures around with his hands. These people are not warriors. You have a better idea? Actually, yes. If you somehow find the tax collector, dead or alive, you might be able to get the soldiers to leave us alone, without people dying. Do you know where I should look? I mean, I think that's valid too. And then you can take the time to then train up and then beat away the soldiers, maybe. I don't know. Oh, you're not helpful at all. I have no idea, he says. I do remember Verdun speaking with Oswin before he left the village. Maybe you should ask Oswin about it, without making it too obvious that you're looking for him. I see. He strokes his thin beard without lost in thought. Another option is to secretly pay the tax again without Agnes knowing. But they're asking for a lot of money. I'm trying to gather what I can from here and there, but I'm sure I won't have enough time. How much is in the tax? Whoa! 500 coins ain't gonna happen, bud. What do you mean here and there? From the villagers. Most of them don't want to fight either. I wish Agnes could see that too. How much have you collected? 150. He's got 350 to go. So we still need 350 more, he says, looking at you with an embarrassed expression. I know it's a lot, but it's the lives of innocent people. I'll see what I can do, but no promises. We'll talk to you guys later. Oswin, do you know where Verdun went? Eddie said Verdun talked to you before leaving Compass. He did, Oswin says, pushing his white hair that had fallen in front of his face behind his ear. He bought some supplies and left, complaining about how vile the village was. Well, what did he buy? He bought some ropes, bandages, and chains, Oswin says, stroking his white beard as he tries to recall. If he got anything else, I don't remember. Did he mention where he was going? He didn't say, but I remember seeing him head west, he thinks for a moment. There was a greedy look in his eyes. Then again, that's just how Verdun looks in general. All right. The statue? The gray statue with Blore eyes stares at the Shah in the sky. Its muscular form is exaggerated, with a chest as broad as a bull's. The expression on its face is inscrutable. Is it anger, disappointment, or a mix of both? You don't need to read the inscription on the platform below to know who it is. Kairakan the Ascendant, the wisest and most powerful being. Clasp my hands and pray, save the game? Sure, why not? You drop to your knees and start praying. For a moment, the world around you fades, no voices of people, no ground beneath you. All that remains is the piercing gaze of Kairakan watching from the throne above. As your prayer ends and you open your eyes, color returns to the world and you find yourself once more in the realm of the living. Okay. Wasn't the inn where I came from? Let's look for Agnes. After circling the entire village several times, you finally find the grumpy woman at the eastern exit of the village, helping people erect a fortification wall around the settlement. She's shouting at other men while holding up the wooden wall, sweating as others drive it into the ground. When the wall is secured, she steps back and dusts off her hands. "Now that's more like it," she says, wiping sweat from her short white hair. "I already feel safer." She grins at the other men and pats her arms in support. "I don't think that'll be enough against the soldiers." She laughs with the others and turns to you. "Maybe," she says, pulling a pipe from her pocket and packing it with tobacco. "I figured you'd be long gone by now. I didn't think you'd sleep in this late." She glances back at the others. "Guess I already forgot there's nothing in GOT that really forces you to wake up early," she adds with a sly smile. The others seem to find it amusing, but they suppress their smiles. "You don't seem worried at all." Lighting her pipe and blowing smoke into the air, she gestures for you to follow her. Together you find a suitable rock to sit on side by side and watch the villagers continue their work on the wall. The sun is bright and the mist is nearly gone. The birds chirp in the air. If you didn't know the village was preparing for battle, it could have been a peaceful moment. "I'm worried," Agnes admits as she watches the men. "I'm just trying not to show it." "Are you still determined to fight the soldiers?" "Of course I'm not." And then jumping to her feet, she shouts at the men. "Enough with idle chatter. I'm the mayor. I get to rest. You get back to work." The men return to their tasks without a moment's hesitation. She sits back down. "My hope is that they see how stubborn and unyielding we are, so they won't dare cross us again." I don't think the soldiers will let Glenn appear weak in front of a small village. "Contrary to what many people think, Glenn isn't stupid," Agnes says, taking a puff from her pipe and exhaling as she continues. "He's well aware of the importance of the taxes and other goods he collects from Compass." "What about the weapons you asked for?" "Yes. Eddie asked me to find the tax collector instead of helping you arm the village." "That brat!" Agnes sighs with frustration. "If someone threatened my village when I was his age, I would have been burning with a desire to fight, but he's so terrified of the smallest conflict. Such a pity. If only I had his skill with a sword." I mean, he shouldn't, let people walk all over him, especially in this kind of day and age. If you live your life afraid of conflict, you'll be crushed by those who aren't. Exactly. Where should I look for these weapons? If I had known, I would have gone and looked for myself. Well, thanks a lot. I've seen the statue at the center of the village. Yeah, it's Kyrakan, the man with the biggest D. Oh, that's good. She raises her head towards the throne, which appears dim in the daylight, and says, "Sorry." That's funny. I knew I liked Agnes. She's great. Do you know anything about the army? I wish I knew so I could use it as a bargaining chip for your help, but unfortunately no. Just nonsensical gossip. Well, what about the gossip? I heard there was conflict between the Written and Glenn, Agnes says. And Glenn, our genius clan leader, somehow managed to defeat the Queen's best knight. I might have believed it if I hadn't seen that scrawny Glenn brat myself. Why don't you like him? Why would I like a spoiled brat? While keeping her eyes on the working men, Agnes takes another pull from her pipe. This time it makes her cough. Everyone talks about how clever and cunning he is, just like his father. But if you ask me, he's just pretending to be his father. After clearing her throat and spitting on the ground, she continues. Not that I like Diego either, but at least the man had presence. When you thought of a leader, he was the first person that came to mind. What's Glenn's presence? What does he want? He just sits in his chair, making our lives more difficult. If you go to the Mist Dwellers, Glenn will probably want to meet you. Say hi if you see him and spit to his face. I won't do that part because I don't want to be murdered. Inside the inn, we find Tom. Okay. The inn's interior is quite neglected and messy. Both the counter and the tables are covered in dust. In the center of the inn, the chairs are arranged in a circular pattern, remain in place. Behind the counter, you see Tom. He is wearing a dirty white apron tied around his front, slicing something with a knife that looks tiny in his large hand. When the broad-shouldered sees you, he gives a slow nod of acknowledgement and then returns to his work. Are you the owner of the inn? No, the man says without lifting his head from his work. The owner is Agnes, but I run the place. Is there a reason the place is so... I'm not gonna insult his inn in front of him. Let's leave Compass. So they said he went west, but we already went west and we didn't run into him. Should we go southwest? How much food do we have? 7? Can I go back into compass? Let's check with Oswin real quick. I need to buy some food, man. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that'll get, at the very least, we can turn around and come back if we don't find any more food. Thank you, Oswin. Goodbye. All right, now we are heading southwest to the Blore Mine. Is that why he had the greedy look on his face and he had the rope and the chains? Could be. As you follow the misty western road, the soil beneath your feet gradually hardens into stone. While the trees give way to sparse grass, the morning is still young and the mist is not too dense. You can see it gently streaming down from the treetops like a slow-moving river. When you reach the end of the path, you find yourself standing before the entrance to a mine. I don't know if I have anything to illuminate this place, I realize. The mine's entrance is guarded by a rotten wooden door. Standing in front of it is a man with a hammer in one hand and a few nails held between his teeth. He appears to be trying to repair the door. His horse is grazing a little further away, tied to a tree. He didn't notice your approach at first. The sound of the hammer striking wood echoes faintly in the air. When he catches sight of you from the corner of his eye, he flinches slightly and spits the nails out of his mouth. Greet the man. He returns your greeting with a tense expression. "If you've come to enter the mine, you're too late, traveler," he says. "Glenn ordered the mine to be sealed." You see the wooden planks scattered on the ground. It seems the man has only just begun the process of sealing the mine. "Well, who are you?" "Not anyone important," the man says, judging by his thinning hair and graying beard. He looks to be in his 40s. Almost perfectly oval-shaped belly he suggests a close relationship with alcohol. "Why did Glenn order it to be sealed?" "As far as I know," he says, hiccuping mid-sentence, "the place is crawling with blower walkers and isn't safe." He gives you a strange look. "Especially not for random travelers passing through." A blore walker is a humanoid yet mindless creature. Embedded in the center of their forehead is a blore shard which allows them to see and navigate the mist. They feed on small animals and are aggressive towards humans. With sharp teeth and powerful arms, they can be incredibly lethal. Okay. Is the mine abandoned? "Aside from the blower walkers and the miners they've killed, yes, it's empty inside." "Well, what else do you know about this mine?" "A blower mine, that's all." He makes a strange noise, somewhere between a hiccup and a cough. "Nothing special about it." "Well, I need to enter the mine." "It's too late," the man says, moving his hammer and returning to his work. "Glenn specifically ordered the entrance to be sealed. If you really want to, you'll need to ask him for permission." He grabs a nail and places it into the wood and starting to hammer it in. "I cast charm." I don't know any charm spell. Take a step towards the man and give him a stern look. "I don't want trouble, I just need an hour inside." "Good roll." The man clears his throat. "Come to think of it, I'm not in that much of a hurry." He drops the hammer. "But I won't wait more than an hour. Keep that in mind." "Whoa, he's gonna seal me in." Deal. We're going into the mine, boys and girls. The man sidesteps to open the mine's entrance. Beyond the wooden door lies a darkness that is anything but inviting. As you step inside, you notice a corridor ahead, and at its far end, a faint orange glow flickers dimly. Clack! The wooden door slams shut behind you, cutting off the light from outside, and plunging you into complete darkness. Spinning around, you spot the man's face peering through a small hole in the door. "Sorry about this, traveler," he says. "There's no way you're making it out of there alive, so be a good sport and hand over all your coin and belongings, and maybe I won't leave you locked in there." "I'll find another exit, and then I'll come after you. Be ready." The man begins to laugh, though his laughter is interrupted by a hiccup. "Good luck. Let's see how long it takes for you to change your mind. I'll give you an hour. If you don't cooperate by then, I'll seal this place up and leave. Oh, and one more thing," he adds as if it had just occurred to him. "There's no other way out of the mine." I dive deeper into the mine. As you move towards the faint glow at the end of the dark corridor, the passage curves to the right, opening into a wide chamber. The ceiling rises nearly 5 meters above you, covered in faintly glowing blur that casts a dim light across the room. Leaning against the walls are broken wooden ladders. At the far end of the room, you notice some kind of wooden structure. To your right, another corridor leads deeper into the mine. There's the strange smell of burning in the air, and everything feels unnervingly still, as if frozen in time. Let's check out the wooden structure. It seems like a lift that is operated by ropes and wooden columns. The gap on the ground extends into darkness, with the platform likely located on the lower level. On both sides of the mechanism are rotating wheels used to move the platform. Try to rotate the wheels. Despite pushing with all your strength, it barely budges, only creaking in protest. When you look down into the void, you can just barely make out the platform below. If you jump, it might hurt like hell, but you'll survive. Probably. I jump down and then roll to avoid damage. I think I can dex roll and use my rope. That's why we have a rope. Oh, the rope was removed though. I need another rope. You carefully grip the rope and begin your descent. As you go down, the rope gradually gives in to your weight, snapping in sections. You speed up. The rope snaps completely and you plummet downwards. Since you manage to get close to the ground, you land safely on your knees and meet the ground without taking much damage, and the rope falls after you. Dude, we need to talk to Oswin about getting better ropes. What the hell? The sound of your landing reverberates through the mine, traveling into the depths before fading into silence. A moment later, guttural growls rise from the darkness in response. You are not alone in the mine. Once again, you find yourself in a large open cavern. The blur deposits in the ceiling amid a dimmer glow, casting just enough light to reveal the still forms of blur walkers scattered across the floor. There are no human corpses in sight. Every wall of the chamber, except for the side with the lift system, leads into a corridor. From the darkness of these passages, faint noises reach your ears. Clicking sounds, shuffling footsteps, and echoes that you can't quite identify. Oh, there are corpses scattered across the floor. Are they actual corpses, or are they just asleep? I don't know. Check out the corpses. The blur chunks embedded in their foreheads are either cracked or entirely extinguished, as lifeless as their empty eyes. Their gray bodies are covered in red scratches that look as if they were made with pickaxes. The sum of their open mouths, you can see sharp teeth covered in black stains. Well, let's check out the lift again. The several ropes holding up the wooden platform large enough to fit 4 or 5 people have snapped. The remaining ones don't look much sturdier, but they might hold a single person. On either side of the platform, there are rotating pulleys where the ropes are fastened. Turning them should allow you to ascend, but first you'll need to pull the rock-filled container off the platform. Well, we're not very strong, so let's avoid that for a second. I would like to, listen to the corridors to see if I could hear anything. I go the corridor on the left, follow the corridor ahead, or I go the corridor on the right. Let's go left. Not great. The corridor is narrow, and after a few steps, it curves to the left and opens into a small chamber. Before stepping inside, you crane your neck to peek in. There's almost no blur, yet the room is dimly illuminated by a wall of glowing mist. The mist wall is the size of a door, sealing the entrance to a tunnel. It casts a human silhouette into the shadows. The figure stands motionless, watching the rippling waves of the mist. Suddenly, it tilts its head, looking directly at where you're hiding. You quickly pull back and avoid being detected. In that brief moment, however, you catch a glimpse of the orange glow on the figure's forehead, a blur walker. Let's go back. Let's go to the right. Another one, great. The corridor is wide enough for 2 people to walk side by side. The marks on the wall suggest there was once blur here, but it has since been mined away. As you approach the other end, the sounds coming from the depths grow louder. You sense movement ahead, and when you get close enough, you see into the opening, and you finally come face to face with the reason the mine was sealed. 3 blur walkers. Can I leave? One stares at the remaining blur on the mine walls as if hypnotized. The second one crouches facing the wall, making nauseating sounds as it devours something in its hands. And the third one sits slumped against the wall, seemingly lifeless, but the blur on his head has not lost its glow. At the far end of the room, there is another opening, and from it comes an intense orange light. Alright, let's try the corridor ahead. You let the dark corridor pull you in. The narrow passage tightens as you move forward, forcing you to sidestep. It curves to the right and opens into a small chamber. It appears to be a storage room. Along the walls are scattered tools and stacks of wooden crates. Inside the crates, you spot blur and other various materials. It looks safe. I step inside. Oh, good roll! Okay. I wonder if I should turn up the volume a little bit. That's a little better. It was a little quiet. Just as you're about to step forward, you notice a thin wire stretched out right in front of you. A trap. The wire is connected to mechanisms on either side of the room. Whatever the trap was meant to trigger, you narrowly avoided it. You don't notice any more traps, but you remain cautious with every step you take. The room contains a chest and a few items that might prove useful. There's also a staircase leading further down into the depths. I will take the potions, and the coins, and the pickaxe, and then I will check out the chest. The wooden chest is wide enough to fit a sword and stands almost knee-high with its decorations made of colorful stones and delicate metalwork. It looks more like an expensive chest you would find in the place of a palace of a wealthy lord rather than a dark abandoned mine. There might be valuable things inside. You try to open it after removing the crates piled on top, but as expected, it's locked. The metal lock appears sturdy, but it looks like you could break it if you hit it hard enough. Well, we have lockpicks. Good roll. You pull a lockpick from your pocket and slide it into the keyhole. Pressing your ear very close to the chest, you focus on the subtle clicks and try to feel every movement of the pick. After just a few minutes, a satisfying click echoes and the lock clatters to the ground. Open the chest. Oh, dude! More arrows? Take the blower? I don't have any space for the short sword. Are you valuable? It's worth 10 coins. I feel like I should have the pickaxe. I think we'll leave the sword here. Go down the stairs? With each step you take down the stone stairs, the room below comes further into view, revealing the horrors that have unfolded here. The wide chamber is filled with human corpses scattered in every direction. The ceiling stretches high beyond what your eyes can see. Right in front of you, a wall has formed by shifting waves of mist, blocks the entrance, which is wide enough for 2 wagons to pass through. The wall shines bright, illuminating the whole chamber. I take slow steps down. The mist forming the wall shifts slowly, drifting in various directions. At the very center of the wall, suspended by the swirling mist, is a blore walker with its arms and legs spread wide. However, the light on its forehead is not the usual orange. It glows a deep purple. To the far left of the room lies a wide-mouthed chasm. Its edges, like the rest of the chamber, are surrounded by lifeless bodies. "Come," says a voice deep and resonant. At first it feels as if the mine itself has spoken, and then you notice the eyes of the walker within the mist walls slowly open, locking onto you. "Approach," it commands, its voice echoing through the mine. Approach the mist wall. You cautiously approach the mist wall. The walker trapped within the swirling mist watches you with weary ancient eyes. It lets out a deep rumbling sound. "Good," it says. "Good, you, not him." Him? What the hell are you? Him? "The scholar," the walker says, its eyes barely staying open, "caused all." Its gaze shifts to the room filled with carnage. Well, what the hell are you? "Glory, they called," it says, likely referring to the miners. Well, how do you talk? "I watched the people. Glory listened." His voice echoes throughout the chamber. Why is the blore on your forehead purple? "Corrupted. The scholar did." Every time the scholar is mentioned, its face twists with anger. What happened here? "They descended into the depths," Glory recounts, "saw the truth. They divided, scattered." Well, what's behind the mist wall? "The truth," Glory says, his voice cracking, "must remain hidden, but I can't endure. Please, help." What truth? "Must remain hidden," Glory groans as if in pain. The ground beneath your feet trembles. How can I help? "Take it," he says, is directing his gaze upward. He's referring to the blore on his forehead. "So to the scholar's chamber, to the other mist barrier. Save Glory." The mist wall tightens and darkens around Glory. He screams in pain. Why did the scholar imprison you? What happens if I take the blore? How can I lift the mist wall? Sorry, I won't do as you say until I understand what's going on. Okay, well, I'm gonna pause the episode here and we're gonna continue talking with Blory next time, and maybe we'll take his stone to the other wall of mist that we saw with the other walker in it. So, if you guys enjoyed the episode, please click the like button. It helps me out a lot. If you want to see more episodes of Herald of the Mist or the other videos I have going on the channel, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you have your notifications on so you know when the next videos go live. But until next time, everybody, I hope you had a good one, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye, everybody!